Hi all, and welcome to a Pixelcave video about merchants in vampire survival game V Rising. Merchants in V Rising provide you with the opportunity to buy some everyday items and most importantly some unique hat gear. We will look at where they can be found, what they sell and how much those items cost. There are currently 3 merchants that can be found in the world. Gavin the Shady Dealer. Gavin patrols the southern roads of Farbane Woods and is often found close to the bandit copper mine. However, as seen here, his route takes him across the zone. Burke the Traveling Trader. He's been sighted patrolling all major roads of Dunley farmlands, though you have a high chance of finding him around the iron mine because many of his patrol routes are crossing here. Ottar the Merchant. He is the only merchant that is stationary and can be found in a house in the Brighthaven slums, which is located in the Silverlight Hills area. Let's take a look at the wares that can be found at each merchant. Gavin sells 2 hats, and all depending on how early you are here, his other wares might or might not be too useful. He is the only trader that sells tools for gathering wood and ore more efficiently. Unfortunately, these tools are only interesting at lower levels, and by the time you are able to interact with the first merchant, you might already have found them as random loot drops in the world. All merchants sell seeds, which is an alternative to grinding for them yourself. Burke has 3 cool hats, seeds, potions, as well as regular gems. Again, the usefulness will depend on several factors. V, for instance, did not even have 300 coins at the time we first checked him out naturally, so this might be something for later. Finally, Ottar. Ottar sells the most expensive hats, and in our experience, unless it's been your focus, you might not have that many coins stashed away. While we had plenty of seeds when we first found him, the spores and lotus seeds might come in handy for some. Everything on sale requires silver coins, as you have seen. But how do you get them? Well, silver coins can be found as loot across the world from chests, containers and kills. For instance, merchants always drop coins when killed. Occasionally you can also get some from fishing nodes. By the way, if you were already wondering, if you decide to kill a merchant, it will take some time for them to come back, but they do respawn. It takes around 15 hours of in-game time as far as we have tested for that to happen. As you might have already noticed, especially at early levels and even if you have the silver coins, it might be a bit tricky to carry enough silver to buy the more interesting items from the merchants due to silver sickness. Silver sickness is a debuff that deals damage over time depending on the amount of silver you're carrying. There are various ways to increase your silver resistance, including some easier to obtain consumables and gear. Maxing out your silver resistance is especially important if you want to buy the rather expensive hats offered by Ottar the Merchant. If you want to learn more about how to increase your silver resistance at various stages of the game, check out our detailed guide about silver resistance. Once you are equipped to carry enough silver coins without taking damage, or at least enough for it to not be a hassle, there is still one hurdle to overcome. As a vampire, you cannot simply interact with merchants. They would attack you immediately. To interact with them, you require the vampire power to disguise yourself as a human. The human form power can be unlocked after killing Beatrice the Tailor. The V-Blood boss is level 38 and can be found within the Dunley farmlands, more precisely in Dawnbreak village. We recommend clearing the area as best possible before attacking her, as she won't stop running and thereby might cause you to aggro the entire village and various patrols with bad luck. Once you have defeated her and extracted her V-Blood, you will have acquired the human form amongst other unlocks. You can drag the power in your ability selection to the radial wheel, where you access all your vampire powers. By the way, in case you didn't know it, silver coins don't count as resources, and as long as you don't have anything else in your inventory, you can use the waygates to teleport or use vampire powers, like for instance the bat form. Now that we can use the human form and carry enough silver coins, we can finally talk to the merchants and buy their wares. Keep in mind that some strong-willed enemies can see through your human disguise and will attack you. In Silverlight Hills, that includes enemies such as clerics, paladins and lightweavers, so it's best to avoid patrols of that type. You also move slightly slower in human form and are still vulnerable to sunlight, so approaching a merchant by night is always the safest option. Finally, since your blood consumption rate is increased in human form, while not much, make sure to fuel up before you start your human adventure. One question we have seen coming up a lot is how to carry enough silver without taking damage in order to buy the most expensive hats from Ottar the merchant. The simple answer is that you need to max out your silver resistance as best possible, and you can learn all about that in our separate guide on our channel. However, there is of course another fairly safe approach, at least on PvE servers and if you're playing with friends. You can bring as many silver coins as your silver resistance allows, and deposit them in Ottar's inventory when interacting with him. We've done a test and added coins to his container, and even after logging out and coming back to the merchant days later, the items were still there. In other words, you could technically deliver smaller amounts of silver several times, until you have enough to buy the most expensive items. The merchant's container can hold up to 800 silver coins. This feels a bit like an unintended game mechanic though, so it might be something that will be patched out during early access. Oh, and one last tip. While the hats which can be purchased at the various vendors are pretty cool, they are not bloodbound, meaning they will be dropped upon death. This could be pretty annoying in PvP, as anyone else could pick up your loot container before you manage to retrieve it. So you might want to consider whether it's worth investing in these cosmetic items or not. That's all from our side. We hope we covered everything there is to know on this topic currently, and that you found the guide useful. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any feedback, tips, or simply want to say hello. To see more videos from us, please leave us a like, subscribe, and even hit that bell.